What's up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another Mount Rushmore edition of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast. I'm your host, as always, Tony Mango. Joining me, as always, are Robert A. Felice.
Hello, everyone.
And Callum Wiggins.
Hello, everyone else.
Just make sure that everybody's included. It's a podcast of inclusion. Joe Gacy would love it. And we're going to be including a lot of people in this discussion today because we're going to be talking about the Mount Rushmore of NXT, and not just necessarily the 4 people that we would put in NXT, but we're going to try to break down some other subcategories. We've done some Mount Rushmores in the past where we've kind of, in the process, had like a second tier, a third tier, where we've done like for instance, the Money in the Bank was the last one that we had done, and we did the A tier, the B tier, and then the worst Money in the Bank Mount Rushmore. So we're going to try to play around with this a little bit. Maybe we'll do based off of some eras. Maybe we'll do men, women, tag teams. We're going to have an overall master list no matter what, though, because that's the ultimate goal. The whole thing is who's the actual Mount Rushmore. But, you know, while we're going along here and we're doing this, we want to invite you to join in the discussion as much as you can. Tell us your lists in the comments below. Tell us your thoughts on our thought process and how we got around to these names and everything else like that. While you are on the comment section, hit some of the other buttons too. There's the like button, there's the thanks button, there's the subscribe button, the little notification bell as well, the join button if you want to be a part of the members only stuff, which is the same thing as the Patreon, patreon.com/smarkoutmoment. I've got some dark cast ideas might be doing pretty soon. Definitely want to do a couple of those in the meantime. So you'll be able to check them out there, and you can do the Pick a Poison tier. We could request things. So if you really are missing Mount Rushmore, because we've only done, I think, 3 other ones this year, it's just pay-per-views and everything have gotten in the way. You could always request us to do another Mount Rushmore of, I don't know, maybe you've got like some real oddball categories that you want, like Mount Rushmore of bulls, like that old Ask Him trivia question that I had where it was like Bull Dempsey and Bull Nakano and the Brahma Bull and all that stuff. Take that into consideration as well. There's also a bunch of sales going on TeePublic and Redbubble if you want to help us out on the monetary side of things by picking up some merchandise. There's way more options now than ever before on Redbubble. All the designs are available for Smark Out Moment, Fanboys Anonymous, and A Mango Tees. So check them out, browse the catalogs if you're interested in that. And I think that's about it for the promo stuff I can put ahead of time. Let's just start getting into this. Mount Rushmore is self-explanatory. If you've seen the maybe 20 episodes or whatever that we've done in the past. How many did we do? I don't have any list about that. We've done 14 of them. So, Mount Rushmore is something that you pick the 4 candidates that you think best represent something, not necessarily the best of them. That's more so top rope list or something, but maybe it's you go based off of we need one representational element of this or that or something. If you've checked out the Review to a Kill series of the James Bond breakdown, we've done the Mount Rushmore for different things like the Mount Rushmore of James Bond gadgets and the Mount Rushmore of the Bond girls and whatever. So it was kind of like, all right, well, you need some kind of a Bond girl representation of like Tracy, and then you need the villainess and that kind of thing. So sometimes we tend to do that on Mount Rushmore. Sometimes it just ends up being who do we think are the best. So we might kind of bounce around a little bit here and there. But before we get into some of the specific categories and stuff, generally speaking, we have a lot of names that we already know are going to be in the ranking. We did the top rope lists of the tag teams and the superstars. So I don't think it's going to be too surprising to see a lot of the same names here. Like, I highly doubt that anybody's going to really make the case for, what was his name? Oliver Gray? Is that his name? That was teaming with Neville for a little bit?
Yeah.
Oliver Gray. I wanted to say Oliver Carter, but that's the NXT UK guy, I think. I don't think that that's going to suddenly come in the middle of nowhere, or that somebody's going to try to pitch that Jushin Thunder Liger's one match that means that he deserves to be in the Mount Rushmore. But if I say, generally speaking, Mount Rushmore of NXT, do you guys have anybody in mind that you would just directly go, it's probably these 4?
I have at least half the list. I think when you say NXT, especially now as NXT changes, there's a definitive picture that you get in your mind of the black and gold NXT, and I'm sure it's not going to take long to get to a name like Johnny Gargano, let's say, because he's just so synonymous with NXT.
I'd say he's the only lock for basically any NXT list that he's eligible for.
And he was our number one for the overall master list and the number one for our men's division. So, I mean, in all likelihood, Johnny Gargano is probably going to be one of our 4 main overall master list people. So before we do that, though, I figured that's how we'll end things. Is we'll have all the other lists, and then we'll kind of look at those and go, okay, well, now we got to compare. I think we should go back in time. I think we should talk about the roots of NXT and talk about something that almost never gets brought up, which is the old competition-based garbage NXT. It is NXT. So we got a whole series of people from the first season with that Wade Barrett had won, that had the Nexus crew, Skip Sheffield, Michael Tarver, David Otunga. We got the season 2 list with Caval. Sorry, excuse me.
God, he can't even get through saying the names of the NXT competition people. That's
I need a gong. That's what's going to be helpful, right? There's Michael McGillicuddy, the genesis of Michael McGillicuddy there. Eli Cottonwood, we could put him on the Mount Rushmore because he's got the best mustache that he doesn't have, according to him. Husky Harris, Percy Watson, good old Lucky Cannon. We got the women's division section: Caitlyn, Naomi, AJ, Oksana, Maxine, Jamie. Who was Jamie? Oh, Jamie Keys. That's right. And then you got your Derek Batemans, your Conor O'Briens, and Johnny Curtis and such. Mount Rushmore of that competition-based season. Who we thinking? Did we go with like representational of how awful it was, or did we go with like the people that actually were kind of halfway decent?
Well, I think you go with the people that define that period of time more than anything else.
Right.
And that's why my number one pick for that would be Matt Striker.
Matt Striker, huh?
No.
He was the host for the vast majority of that entire run.
I can't imagine.
I don't feel that there's anyone that's more synonymous with that period of time that's other than Matt Striker.
See,
He makes a point, but like I can't imagine putting Matt Striker on a Mount Rushmore. Either Mount Rushmore or something like that.
I mean, if we were going to do that, then it would be like Striker and Michael Cole.
Well, Michael Cole wasn't commentary for the whole entire time. He was just the one that he's known for is the season 3 where he just buries all the women that are on the show, and obviously that was wildly entertaining. But Matt Striker's there from pretty much start to finish, like throughout the entire like competition era. That's why I think that if there's anyone that I'd absolutely say would be like a lock to include, that's him.
Does he get back in the ring during the redemption season?
I can't remember.
I'm trying to look that up right now.
He might do.
He might have.
He's not on the season as far as the competition base, but he might have like wrestled a couple matches here. That was all lost in the shuffle. It became completely pointless to watch it. What about the name of the woman that didn't last a single episode? The Amazon one.
Aloisa.
Aloisa. Isis the Amazon. She was like Vicky Guerrero's, and then immediately afterward they booted her out of the company. Whatever. I'm writing down some names. I'm kind of playing around with some ideas right now, because there's people that I think of all the time when it comes to that, but it tends to be like really bad people. Like I think like Eli Cottonwood, Jacob Novak, Lucky Cannon, and Michael Tarver are usually the people that I tend to think of just because of how bad all that was. And, out of the people that were in the Nexus, Michael Tarver was the one that did the least. So if we were going to go with like representational of how bad it was, those would be my 4 picks: Cottonwood, Novak, Cannon, and Tarver. If we were going to go with like good people, Barrett would have to be on there because he won and he led the Nexus, right?
It would be Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett would have to be on there.
I mean, realistically, I'd say that if you're going by the good standard, then you would pick. Well, realistically, there are only 3 winners because season 4 never really finished.
No, Johnny Curtis won.
Oh yeah, Johnny Curtis did win.
Curtis won, but then they just brought him right back for the redemption thing.
Yeah, sure. But then it would just be Barrett, Cavill, Caitlyn, and Curtis.
See, I would think Cavill doesn't deserve to be on that. I think that he would be replaced potentially with Daniel Bryan. Because one of the biggest stories that came out of that was the whole Bryan getting himself eliminated, and then the feud with The Miz going back to when he was his pro and all that. So I'd kind of go Barrett, Bryan, Curtis, and Caitlyn, I think. Maybe AJ Lee even more so than Caitlyn.
No, it's Barrett, Bryan, Naomi has to be on this list. And I wouldn't even know who to say for. I guess Curtis, because Curtis did stay. Curtis stayed for a long time. So I would say Barrett, Bryan, Naomi, and Johnny Curtis.
I don't see the reason why Naomi would have to be on it ahead of Caitlyn, who actually won it.
Because Naomi's lasted longer. Like, she's been on WWE TV since the NXT season 3.
But it's not about who's survived the longest. It's about who.
Yeah,
like,
I kind of
in that space of time. It's a finite period of time.
I kind of think Caitlyn over Naomi, even though Naomi's an option.
All right, I made my argument. 2-1. I can't argue that.
I mean, I just don't feel. I don't feel like. I mean, the only woman that would be on it would be, for me, is Caitlyn, because she won it, and that season is just terrible.
Yeah,
and it's just
really, really, really bad.
Yeah, it's like it's some of the worst TV that WWE's ever produced.
Which is saying a lot.
And the only thing that made it entertaining was Michael Cole, the Gong.
Right.
And when Michael Cole is the most entertaining part of your entire show, you know you have problems.
So we're thinking maybe Barrett, Bryan, Curtis, Caitlyn, and then for like
I still think Matt Striker should be one of those 4 people. Like, there's no one that's more ever present on that in that entire run of the NXT competition than Matt Striker. He's on virtually every episode.
Who would you potentially take out, either Bryan or Curtis?
Bryan probably, yeah.
What do you think, Rob? Bryan or Striker?
I understand why we're saying Striker now, so probably Striker.
All right, well, that's 2-1 then. Let's boot off Daniel Bryan, go with Matt Striker, Johnny Curtis, Caitlyn, and Wade Barrett. There you go.
Yep, 3 winners and the guy that was basically in charge of everything for all that time.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it gets a little weird after that. If we were going based off of eras, we have to sort of define what the other eras were.
Well, I would say the first era, if you're looking for that, just my personal opinion, would be from the start of the quote-unquote actual NXT, unless you want to do Redemption as its own era.
Nah, the Redemption's not worth a whole separate era.
But okay, so from the start of NXT, so around about 2012, when it's relaunched as a super indie, up until the first takeover, I'd say.
I was thinking pre-network 2012 up until Arrival.
Oh, Arrival, yeah, would work, yeah.
So that's 2014. That's kind of like the golden era sort of thing.
Yeah, that's the start of the golden era. So I'd say you probably go from that point until, so it'd be 2014, probably until about, when would the golden era end?
So I put some notes down ahead of time of some ideas that I had, where in my mind, pre-network 2012 to Arrival 2014 was the golden era. I didn't name all the eras. Then it starts with the TakeOver kind of side of things. TakeOver in May of 2014, because that's that's Fatal 4-Way. You got Neville, Zayn, Breeze, and Kid. And even though that's not technically, like, you still have Neville as champion and you still have Neville as champion with the Sami Zayn side of things, Maybe you go with our Evolution instead in December of 2014. But I'm thinking kind of like that Sami Zayn range starts another thing and goes until I had down until you get the end, because they kind of acted like that was going to be the end of some things, and you got like the end of the Balor and Joe saga. But you can carry that on even more with Shinsuke Nakamura and Bobby Roode and all that. It's kind of weird because once you get into the Roode situation, you start getting into Drew McIntyre stuff. Then you get into where like the Undisputed Era come in. I do think that there's kind of a big divide between the Undisputed Era, Ciampa, Gargano sort of era, and the era that was Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and Finn Balor and Samoa Joe. Do you guys agree?
Kind of. I mean, I personally, I would go with if we'd try to put definitive times to it. I would say, as I say, we've got the Golden Era up until the Arrival show. Then I'd go from the first Takeover until the Undisputed Era's debut.
Yeah, kind of.
I think the moment the Undisputed Era, it's either the moment the Undisputed Era debut, or it's the moment that Ciampa turns on Gargano.
I think it's sort of like the big switch is when they start going, okay, the group that we're focusing on is Undisputed Era, Gargano, Ciampa, Black, Sullivan, Velveteen Dream. Like, I think that's like I don't know if there's a distinct cut, but yeah, I kind of think like maybe TakeOver Philadelphia 2018. It's Almas against Gargano. That might be like a almost definitive kind of thing. Maybe War Games before that, actually, with the Undisputed Era. Because you got Sanity versus Authors of Pain versus Undisputed Era. That's the main event. Who was on that card? Who was the champion? Was that Black?
I'd say it's Brooklyn 3.
Yeah.
Is the turning point.
Brooklyn 3. That was... Yeah, okay, so that was Drew McIntyre.
McIntyre and Undisputed Era debut.
Yeah, I think that's we go from the first Takeover show until that, and that's the next cut-off point. And then we go from that until the start of the pandemic. Actually, we go from that one until the start of the Wednesday Night Wars.
So we're thinking, I'm going to write this down. TakeOver goes from the first one of that until Brooklyn 3.
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn 3. And that's August 2017. So it's a good 3 years. And then we've got the like the Undisputed Era, kind of.
Yeah.
If you can kind of look at it that way. Which that starts Brooklyn 3 and goes
I'd say 3. That one goes until
probably September 2019.
When they decide to go onto actual TV, and then there's
the Wednesday Night Wars, and then you've got after that probably April 2021, where they switch over to Tuesday nights and they start going to the Capitol Wrestling Center, and it's like in limbo.
I'd say you pretty much go from September 2020 to NXT 2.0.
Even that limbo period, you think, just kind of merged with the other one?
Well, it doesn't really change too much, really, the limbo period. Like the main people that are around before then are still there.
Yeah, true.
The thing that definitively changes is when NXT 2.0 happens, and then people start getting released left and right.
So probably September 2019 to September 2021, and then we got 2.0. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 eras. I think that's a good thing to break down.
So it should be NXT 6.0. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a whole thing on this.
Yeah. I did write an article about it. Wednesday Night Wars, and then I'll make another column here. You can't see it on my screen. I'm not doing the screen share on this one for anybody. But we'll run down the list. Don't worry. So 2.0. All right. So then we got to figure out the people from this era. Now, of course, this could be men and women too, just the same as the other thing. We're not doing the men's version and the women's version unless we just, randomly decide to do that for the split second. But Golden Era, you got pre-network to Arrival.
Mm-hmm. Main one, Bo Dallas, I'd say.
I think Bo Dallas is a good option. I think Seth Rollins makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Big E.
Big E does make a lot of sense.
If we're throwing tag teams into this as well and lumping them in as one pick, the Ascension would be the pick for that one.
The Ascension are absolutely a great pick.
So that's a curious thing. How do you guys feel about tag teams being in as one entity?
Totally for it.
I think they have to be in this case.
Because Ascension, definitely in the running for that.
I would say, let's look at some other people that potentially could get into this.
Wow, Angelo Dawkins was back on the roster then.
Yeah. Wyatt is an option. Paige.
Oh, Paige. Yeah.
Paige, I feel like, is almost a guarantee. I'm looking at this roster right now. There's people that I've never heard of before. There's Chad Baxter, Chase Donovan. I remember Memo Montenegro. That was Del Rio's brother or something, right?
I've never heard that name in my life.
Who's Sophia Cortez? Is that Ivelisse?
Oh, that's Ivelisse.
Ivelisse, yes.
Tony Dawson? I don't remember Tony Dawson. It was Mike Dalton. He's before he's Tyler Breeze. Leo Kruger. Yeah. So
Adam
there's
Rose,
Adam Rose. He was well before the Adam Rose time frame. There's Rowan and
quite good.
There's Enzo.
It's maybe sad that he went to Rose afterwards.
This is a name to bring up that I think might be worth a discussion. What about Dusty?
Oh, Dusty, I definitely should be in consideration for that period.
Considering they're all called Dusty's kids, I would put him up there.
Yeah, I'd say there's another one that's a bit weird, but could be considered for that period. Cesaro.
Cesaro doesn't become Cesaro unless he does that run.
But is that more so the TakeOver era after that?
No, because he's only like match.
He's only on.
He's only big NXT shows on Arrival.
I thought that was. Wait, no, that's right. Yeah,
that's when he has the 2 out of 3 falls match. The 2 out of 3 falls match is on TV. That's where he just has a singles match with his own. There's a 2 out of 3 falls match a couple of weeks afterwards, I think, but that was basically his final NXT match.
I'm looking at the 2013 roster now. I'm trying to Basil Baraka, Baron Dax. Is that Marcus Louis? Yeah, Baron Dax was his name. Bull James. Let's see, Dante Dash. I remember that name. Judas Devlin, Luchasaurus.
That's insane. Like,
who's Ricardo Rodriguez in a mask?
But yeah,
you're kidding.
It's
is that actually Ricardo Rodriguez? Just in a mask?
Rodriguez. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
He went under the name for a little while, El Local.
Sean Ricker. Good old LA Knight. I guess they could.
Yeah, LA Knight.
Maybe that's how they got away with him being Team Black and Gold.
They should have thrown that in there.
Right. Should have been like, yeah, I was back in 2013. I was on the roster. I'm not seeing any other names that I think necessarily would have to go on there. Like, obviously, like Ty Dellinger was a part of things, but it's like, nah, he didn't really accomplish all that much. If we were to do like a separate one for the women's side of things, and you start getting into the 4 horsewomen, you get into
that's
Emma.
You could ever say Summer Rae potentially on the Mount Rushmore or anything.
Summer Rae got
I wouldn't be so specific as to name like women, like the women's Mount Rushmore for this small period of time.
Right. Yeah, I don't think we necessarily need to do that.
Because it would
if you wanted to,
it would just be Paige, Emma, Summer Rae, and I don't know.
I think you still maybe squeeze Banks in there.
No, you wouldn't put Sasha, would you? I mean, Charlotte was around at that point for a little while.
But Sasha was more polished, wasn't she?
Who would Paige like actually wrestle? That's kind of like the only.
Who would she beat for the title?
Emma.
Was it?
Was it Emma and they just ran it back?
Was Natty the person that she was feuding with more so, or was that a different
I was
thing?
wondering.
That was Charlotte. Natty. Charlotte was the one that had the match with Natty in the tournament final.
What about
Alicia Fox?
Alexa Bliss wasn't a big thing then, right?
No.
That was
arguably
like
she was never a big thing in NXT.
Right.
But I mean, she was more so the takeover type of era after this, right?
I'm trying to have a look. So NXT Women's Champion.
It's a lot of like, there's Kendall Sky, like I don't know her. There's Audrey Marie. I mean, she was kind of a part of things for a little while.
That's it. Paige went on a winning streak, defeating the likes of Audrey Marie, who was just a fit.
I think it might be her.
Sasha Banks, Emma, Axana, multiple victories over Alicia Fox. Summer Rae. They had a tournament to determine the first NXT Women's Champion. She beat Tamina Snuka and Alicia Fox, and then beat Emma in the final. Oh, she did defend it once against Natalya on December 4th episode of NXT. And then her only other major defense was against Emma at NXT Arrival.
So funny enough, I kind of think that we already did the just specific women for that thing just for the sake of it. It's Paige, Emma, Summer Rae, and then it's either Audrey Marie or Sasha, I guess. I'm kind of thinking Audrey Marie for that time frame because she's actually in a reference point for wrestling with my family.
Well,
it sounds weird.
I mean, to be fair, I'm looking at the name that I'm seeing the most in her like section on the NXT Women's Champion is Alicia Fox. So
yeah, let's go with Alicia Fox then.
I'd probably go Alicia Fox over Audrey. Yeah, whenever is Alicia Fox ever going to appear in anything?
Good for Alicia Fox and Summer Rae. Damn right.
Yeah, all right. Well, then that's the women's side of that.
Because Sasha's going to be in the next one anyway, so we don't.
Yeah. But on the men's side, if we do want to split it, demand and then do the overall, because we're doing it, why not? So we got Bo Dallas, Seth Rollins, Big E, Ascension, Dusty Rhodes, Cesaro. I
learned that Audrey Marie is the wife of Tyler Breeze.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, good for them. I didn't know that. I didn't even know that Tyler Breeze was married.
Well, there you go.
Who's Grizz? Grizz.
That's a rap. That honestly sounds like a jobber from the reality show era.
His other names were Cal Jack and Cal Bishop. And his real name's Clayton Jack.
Cal Bishop, yeah.
Cal Bishop sounds familiar.
I'm not thinking of Cal Bishop. Oh wait, was he the guy that they specifically showed the footage of him getting fired? I think that might have been one of the first things with Canyon Seaman. Anyway, I don't think there's any other names potentially in the mix for the men's side, right? Bo Dallas, Seth Rollins, Big E, Ascension, Dusty, Cesaro.
Well, I'd say that you can't put Dusty in the men's one, but you can put him in the overall.
The overall thing, but I mean, it's just as far as like a guy to mention.
Yeah. Yeah. But in the men's one, I'd say it's definitely you're looking Bo Dallas and Rollins. Rollins as the first champion.
I think Rollins is kind of like a lock. I think that that Bo Dallas is kind of a lock.
Yeah. I'd take the Ascension.
I think Ascension, yeah. I think that makes sense. And then are we thinking maybe Cesaro? Or is there another person that can kind of...
It's either Cesaro or Big E, really, I'd say.
You gotta have Big E.
Big E, you think? I think Big E makes a little bit more sense than Cesaro.
Yeah, he's former champion. He did it had the nice gimmick of the 5 count.
I need 5.
He comes right up and he fights John Cena. So this is still where they're trying to utilize NXT as a developmental platform to go directly into the main event.
Yeah.
I think Big E.
All right, so then we got those 2 sets of 4. What's our overall golden era? I feel like Dusty should be on that.
Yeah, Dusty should be. So I'd say Dusty,
Paige.
I think Paige. Yeah, Paige is a lot. Actually, I think it's. I would personally, I would go Dusty, Paige, Bo Dallas, and the Ascension.
I kind of think the same.
I think Bo Dallas was the best champion of that era. Even though Seth was the first one, I think Bo was the best.
I think Bo kind of he makes it his own in his own way. He's a second generation person who's like they're going to try to make something out of, as opposed to Tyler Black just got called up, you know?
Yeah. And as much as we can joke about the Ascension, like they were
They were a big
they
deal.
were the monster tag team of the era. So,
all right, well, we got that sorted for Golden Era. Now we're in the TakeOver Era with 2014 through Brooklyn 3. There's going to be a lot more options for this one, I think.
Yeah, it's a bit more convoluted. So I think we should try and make a somewhat of a rule that people can't appear on multiple ones for different eras.
I think that they pretty much can't, because it's just too hard for them to have crossed over between different ones.
Yeah.
I also think we should say it's pretty obvious the 4 women are the 4 horsewomen.
I wouldn't say that.
You don't think so?
Dude, there's Asuka, bro. Like,
oh wait, God, yeah, she's in that time frame, not the Undisputed. Well, all right, never mind then. Yeah,
because I would say that
Asuka's probably taking precedence over Becky.
Oh, obviously over Becky. Yeah, Becky's the one that definitely shouldn't be on the Mount Rushmore for the NXT. Obviously, she'd be very prominent in a modern day WWE women's one, but yeah, I'd say it's Charlotte, Sasha, Bayley, and Asuka.
I mean, I know you know that, but just breaking it down for Tony.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, the time frames are throwing me off a little bit here, because Shayna Baszler's in the Undisputed section, right?
I'd say that she crosses over to the next section, yeah.
And Alexa Bliss was nowhere near as big of a deal.
No, the only other options would be Nia Jax.
Nah.
Emma.
Nah.
Eva
She's
Marie.
on the other thing too. Eva Marie, nah.
Dana Brooke.
Nah. Yeah, so it's Asuka, Bayley.
Ember Moon would be the other choice, I guess.
I think it's Asuka, Bayley, Charlotte, and Sasha, because Ember Moon, she won the title
I'm not even sure
by
Ember Moon's going to get into the next one. So.
I don't think she deserves to. She won the title after they already had Asuka specifically vacate it. And then her first match that she does after that, she ends up retaining by like DQ or something, and then she loses it to Shayna. She kind of she botched that whole thing. All right, well then that takes care of the women already. That was fast. The men, though, that's going to be a lot more difficult.
Yeah, so all right, so let's consider the options then. So Sami Zayn, of course.
Gonna write these down. Sami Zayn is definitely
Neville.
an option. Kevin Owens is an option.
Yep.
Neville's an option.
I think Tyler Breeze is an option.
Tyler Breeze is definitely an option. Let's see. Let's NXT champions list. Just to make sure that I'm not forgetting anybody necessarily. Although if I would forget somebody, then they shouldn't be on the list. Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bobby Roode, because Drew McIntyre is the cutoff point.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre on this other list.
I mean, you're going tag teams as well. Enzo and Cass, American Alpha.
American Alpha. We got Revivals in that list, right?
Yeah, Revival. Yeah.
Or are they more?
Somewhat crossover. Yeah, actually, yeah. Revival has to be in this one because the cutoff point is after the breakup of DIY. So yeah, they will be gone by Brooklyn for yeah. So they have to be in this era if they're going to be in it. Have a look for a bit more. Vaudevillains. That's obviously a bit of a stretch, but And tell you again, a bit of a weird one for this. Corey Graves.
As a broadcaster, maybe.
More as a broadcaster than as a talent, yeah.
Is this where we put William Regal? Or did we do that somewhere down the line with the overall list or something?
I think William Regal becomes more prominent in the Undisputed section. But then again, the Undisputed section is going to have a lot of people as well. So obviously William Regal has to be part of one of these Mount Rushmores. It's just deciding which one we have room for.
Do we have the space to do the tag teams of the TakeOver era? It would be American Alpha, Revival, Enzo and Cass.
Enzo and Cass and the Vaudevillains, probably.
I put the Authors of Pain on there.
I thought AOP is in the next. Is there AOP in the next section, or is AOP in this section?
AOP is in this section.
I guess they become tag champ. I know there would be tag champions at this point. So yeah.
Authors of Pain. Authors of Pain are after DIY win the titles.
Yeah, I know, but they are champions at the point of the cutoff. Because they lose the championships, I think, at Brooklyn Free.
Oh, they do, to Sanity.
Sanity, yeah. And I was wondering whether Sanity actually count towards this one as well.
There's Lucha Dragons.
So Sanity were a bigger deal at that point. Yeah, Lucha Dragons.
Blake and Murphy.
Yeah, there's a lot of great tag teams at this point. This is like one of the peak periods of their tag team division.
Well, I think American Alpha, Revival, Enzo, and Cast. There's 3 of the 4.
They're 3 logs, yeah.
So then it's either Vaudevillains, Banff, Lucha Dragons, or ARP. I think I'd go more Vaudevillains.
I'd go Vaudevillains as well. I thought they were the most interesting act. I do like AOP.
Yeah.
A lot, but like I think the Vaudevillains had more staying power there than AOP did.
All right, well then we got tag teams on there. We don't need to do a tag team golden era because I don't even think that they had tag teams then.
No, because it was like that would have just been the Wyatt family.
It was the Wyatt family. There, you probably squeeze Corey Graves in there.
Yeah, the Wyatt family, the Ascension, who the only other tag team champions at that period were Neville and Corey Graves and Neville and Oliver Gray. Would you put in like fucking Too Cool?
Hey,
because they had that one match against the Ascension.
Scotty was a trainer now. It's not some respect on that name.
But yeah, I think you'd leave it at that point.
Yeah.
Fucking Angelo Dawkins and Ty Dillinger or whatever they were at that point.
Stirring it up. Yeah, so that's the names. Those are the champions that were around that time frame, but people who weren't champions that were in the mix here. I'm looking at this list, just trying to figure out the full range of 2015. I don't
think we're going to have anyone else at this point, or anyone else that's going to outplace the people that we've already listed.
Yeah, because it's not like we're going to put like Tucker Knight, Liv Morgan.
You're not going to put Baron Corbin in this, even if you do like Baron Corbin. Like
he wouldn't be worth being on the list now. Baron Corbin was cool during that time frame, but he doesn't beat out champions. So then we're kind of in the
only other one that would be slightly interesting is Apollo Crews, but he was called up way too early. So
yeah, just when he was getting the ball rolling, they called him up.
Yeah, they screwed him over in that way.
So I'm thinking Vaudevillains, no. American Alpha, no. As far as taking a spot on the men's or the overall necessarily.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't say put him on the men's one, but I'd say the only one that's really for the overall is Revival.
I think if any of the tag teams got on the overall, it would be the Revival. And I think that they kind of should, depending on who we go with.
Yeah, well, I think we'll end up in a circumstance where it's going to be hard, but I feel like the overall one for that period is going to be William Regal and then one from each of the other Mount Rushmores.
Possibly.
Unless we did William Regal in the next one and we decided to put 2 in this one. But I feel like there's more of a need to have that for the next one rather than this.
So I know we got Zayn, Owens, Neville, Breeze, Balor, Joe, Nakamura, Rude. I don't think Rude as much.
No, Rude. No, I wouldn't put Rude in.
I don't think Nakamura as much either. Like I put Joe over Nakamura, Rude.
Oh, Joe definitely. This is the interesting thing with one of these people in particular, Balor. Because Balor could go in this one. He could also go in the
Wednesday Night War.
Wednesday Night War era. And arguably there's less competition for him in the Wednesday Night War era.
So this is where we have to draw the line on that ruling of if they can't cross over, then I have to say I think Balor was more worthy in the Wednesday Night War era.
I kind of think so too. It might. I think we might need to put Balor as like a question mark and then come back to him.
Well, because when
we do that.
I mean, realistically, he deserves a place in the. It definitely merits a place in the current one we're talking about. But if he could only, if we do try and like set a rule where he can only appear in one, then we might as well save the space because there's lots of other worthy people that could go in this one as well, and there's a lot less in the Wednesday Night War era.
Especially because the Wednesday Night War era is going to have crossover with Undisputed, and then they won't.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
because if you're going to put Undisputed Era or Gargano or Ciampa in the previous one, then you're not going to put them in the next one, and so you're left with like fucking Dexter Lumis and stuff like that.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Balor's most likely going to go on Wednesday Night War. I'll put him on there for now.
So we got that means we can.
We got Joe, Breeze, Neville, Owens, and Zayn for 3 spots. Everyone though for 4, then yeah. So we got
a lock.
Zayn. I think Zayn pretty much needs to be on there. I feel like
he pretty much defines all that era.
I feel like Joe needs to be one of the 4 out of the 5.
Yeah, I'd say Joe as well. Yeah.
And then it's Owens, Neville, and Breeze for 2 spots. Does it need to be kind of Neville and Breeze?
Yeah, no. Yeah, Owens has the shortest run out of all of those ones, but
right.
But I think Owens means more to NXT than even Neville.
I think Neville at that point was like he'd established himself as like one of the longest reigning NXT champions before obviously Balor took that and then Cole later down the road. But I feel like Neville was, because he main evented so many of the early ones, I would say you have to include Neville on that list. And then I'd just do Breeze for longevity's sake.
I kind of lean in that direction too, because even though Owens is one of my favorite guys, and like he's
champion for like 2 months or 2-3 months or whatever,
and he goes up to the main roster pretty quickly, and he's kind of built off of the Sami Zayn thing. So it's like if you have Sami there,
he spent the vast majority of his WWE career on the main roster.
Yeah, I think I'd go Neville and Breeze.
Yeah, I'd say I would co-sign that.
So we got Zayn, Joe, Neville, Breeze for the men, Asuka, Bayley, Charlotte, and Sasha for the women, Alpha, Revival, Enzo and Cass, and Vaudevillains for the tag teams. And then for the overall master list of TakeOver, this when I add this onto the wiki, this is going to be a super long list of different Mount Rushmores.
I'd say, well, if you go, the tag team should be the Revival.
Yeah, I think so. I think
the women's a toss-up between Bayley and Asuka for me.
Huh.
I don't know which one, because that is just too hard for me to figure out.
I would go Bayley or Asuka over Flair and Banks for sure, too. Because I think that Bayley is the driving force of the Sasha thing, and I think that Flair, she's more so main roster.
Yeah.
So Asuka, Bayley. Honestly, I think I'd go Asuka and Bayley both on there. And then the one last spot is Sami Zayn.
You could do that.
I don't think I'd put Regal on there.
Okay. Well, that means Regal has to go in the next one.
I think I'd save Regal, I think. Well, I don't know. Shit. That's tough. Because
you can't put him in Wednesday Night War because he's barely around on the Wednesday Night War one.
And then I don't think we would necessarily put him in for the overall master list, but we could.
I think Regal definitely deserves a place on the overall master list. I mean, he's definitely a huge contender for it. And he's been well, even though we're not seeing a lot of him now, he's been the general manager since 2014. So.
I kind of feel like if we put him on the master list, I don't think that we should necessarily put him on for the takeover thing. I think that could be 3 spots for other people. Whether it's Zayn, Asuka, and Bayley, or Zayn, Joe, and either Asuka or Bayley. But then there is an argument you could do. You got to pick Zayn or Joe, and you got to pick Asuka or Bayley, and then you put Regal on there. We do, on the overall list, we do have, for the competition one, we've got Matt Striker. For the Golden Era, we've got Dusty. So there is a precedent already for us making one of those but then we're not going to have that for all the other ones.
Well, it's fundamentally like Regal has to be on a master list for one of these eras, I'd say. I just don't know whether I want to put him in this one or the next one, but the next one's going to have other people that we're going to talk about. Or we just keep him out of these ones and we just put him on the main master list. He has to be on one of these things.
Yeah.
It's William Regal.
Well, if we had to pick between Zayn and Joe.
What? Zayn.
Yeah. All right. So Zayn goes in there for sure. If we had to pick between Asuka and Bayley.
Asuka, I'd say.
That's tough.
It is tough, but I would say, I mean, I love Bayley's story in NXT, but Asuka never lost in NXT.
That's really tough. Any thoughts, Rob, between those?
I think it has to be Asuka.
All right, so that's 2 for Asuka, and I keep leaning towards putting Asuka and Bayley on there instead of Regal.
I mean, I like that idea of putting them both on there.
Yeah,
I'm just worried what that means for what we're doing next time, because I'd tell you something, like, you're going to have to put Gargano and Ciampa and Adam Cole on the next one.
Yeah, it's well,
and you need to put Shayna Baszler on it as well.
I'll put Bayley in a different color. We might come back to that.
Like William Regal, he's going to end up being one of those. It's like he's the Lincoln Memorial. Even if we can't fit him on a Mount Rushmore, he's the Lincoln Memorial.
Yeah, he's the giant phallic Washington Monument. Sticking up.
Well, surely that's going to sound like a weird thing. That's obviously a very weird analogy you're putting out there in the first place. But,
that's what it's all about. You didn't know that?
Yeah.
That's totally what it's all about.
But where's Triple H then?
Well, again, I said Regal was the Lincoln Memorial. Triple H is the giant phallic.
I mean, that kind of makes more sense with how his career kind of went in the DX stuff.
I'm gonna give ourselves an out here. I'm gonna add an extra one here with the tag teams, men, women, and I'm gonna add Authority. And we're gonna go Dusty Rhodes, William Regal, Triple H, and who would be the fourth?
Fourth authority figure of all time.
For NXT. Would that be
JBL?
Matt Stryker because of the competition one?
You can't just say JBL because he was technically general manager for about.
That's the first thing that popped into my mind. Okay.
I kind of think it might be Stryker from that competition thing because it was 5 seasons worth of him being on that.
I mean, Stryker would make sense.
But he didn't have any authority.
Yeah, he was the host. He was the one that was like.
You were setting all this stuff up.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily equate authority.
Yeah, as much as they did back in that time frame where they didn't care.
I mean, yeah, the only other option would be like JBL because he was general manager for a little while. Michael Cole, I think, was general manager for a week. And then the other option would be Samoa Joe because he was the enforcer for a little while.
All right, so Rhodes, Regal, Triple H, and Matt Stryker are the authority.
Yeah,
right.
I think Stryker.
There we go. So now we know
we
what you
get commentary as well.
Oh, you know what? Why not? We're doing it. Why not?
Do one commentary and put Corey Graves on it immediately, obviously.
Commentary.
Ronaldo has to go on it.
Mauro Ranallo is a guarantee.
Yeah.
Corey Graves.
He's been there twice now, right?
I think Vic Joseph's a possibility.
Vic Joseph, yeah, but Tom Phillips is a possibility.
Tom Phillips is a possibility. Renee Young.
Yeah, she was actually on NXT thing as well.
She was.
And name you're not going to hear too much of anymore. Rich Brennan.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Nigel
Why
Nigel
we
McGuinness.
here?
Yeah.
I mean, the answer is Alex Riley.
You know what? That brought up another thing. Add a column here. NXT UK.
Oh yeah, we could do that as well.
This is going to be the most complicated Mount Rushmore list that we've had. It's just going to be, all right, on this edition, we do 14 Mount Rushmores. We'll go back to NXT UK, but Nigel is a possibility on commentary.
Beth, Byron Saxton,
Percy Watson.
Nah, not Percy.
Was there? I'm just saying names that were there.
Yeah, I know. Jason Albert.
Good old Matt Bloom.
That's I'll throw Regal in on here because Regal's fantastic.
Well, we got Ronaldo. We got Ronaldo. We got Graves.
Ronaldo and Graves, yeah, definitely
for sure.
I'd say Tom Phillips. Actually, I think he's been on it the longest. Like he comes and goes really. I know it's Vic Joseph at the moment, but Tom Phillips has been there for a while doing stuff. That's where he cut his teeth with NXT. So.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go Tom and Vic or if I'd go Tom and Nigel, because Tom and Nigel work together quite a bit too. I think I'd go
like Nigel, and Nigel does NXT UK still, so.
And he could kind of, I think I'd go maybe Tom and Nigel.
Tom and Nigel.
Vic's getting up there. Vic would be like number 5.
Vic will be close. Barrett might be up there soon. Never know.
Yeah, Barrett's great. I love Wade Barrett. There was a thing a couple weeks ago, whatever, where he's like, Stu, what do you think about whatever? And he's like, well, my name's Wade, but you know. All right, let's go back to what's going to be one of the hardest lists to make, the Undisputed list. So we've got.
We finished. Have we done the master list for the
TakeOver Era? We got Sami Zayn, Asuka, potentially Bayley or William Regal, and Revival.
Okay,
I'm
finding it there for the moment.
We got to come back to the Bayley Regal thing. Undisputed list. We've got Drew McIntyre, Andrade, Aleister Black, Johnny Gargano, Ciampa, Adam Cole. Which, how do you guys feel about this? We put Undisputed Era as the group.
Absolutely, put Undisputed Era in as well.
Because we kind of have to. If we're going with tag teams being like that, all right, they're not only going on the master list, they're going on the tag team list, of course.
I know we've said that don't cross over things, but Undisputed Era do cross over because they're just too big.
Yeah. So we got McIntyre, Andrade, Aleister Black, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Undisputed Era, Velveteen Dream, which I don't think we will end up putting on there.
Okay.
Ricochet. Yeah, Andrade's on there.
Ricochet. Yeah. Let's have a look. Street Profits as tag team.
Street Profits, potentially. Or at least for the tag team thing.
Riddle.
So we're going Undisputed as Brooklyn to September 2019.
Yeah, I think they're the main.
So I'm just going through. I'm going to look at
we got to throw some women out as well.
Jordan Miles.
Fuck. He left an impression. Let's put it that way. Are you throwing some women out as well?
Well, let's see. I don't want to go with the 2019 thing. I'm looking up.
Baszler's on there, right? We already determined that. Kairi Sane. There's an argument that could be made.
Shayna Baszler's a guarantee.
Yeah, Shayna. Shirai would probably be in the next selection, probably.
Ripley, right?
Ripley is a shout.
So Io Shirai, possibility. Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae.
Yeah, Candice definitely.
Dakota Kai.
Yeah. Again, but some of these ones could cross over into other ones if we need to.
Technically speaking, Ember Moon, but she's not going to make it over the other ones. Shafir, no. Mia Yim, no. Nikki Cross, a possibility.
Nikki Cross is definitely not a shout for this one. Iconics.
Iconics, possibly. Zelina Vega.
They could go in the tag team one, actually.
Yeah, sure, they could.
Looking at some other ones. Let's see. I haven't got anyone else kind of listed from that era on the women's side of things. Nobody on my list, anyway. There's probably some that I might be forgetting, but you wouldn't put Tegan Nox or Belair? Bianca Belair?
Oh, absolutely, I think.
Oh, God, yeah, I can't believe we forgot about Bianca Belair.
Well, there's an option. I don't think that she's a lock to go on this.
No, but I mean, she's at least worthy of being talked
in the
about.
Conversation, yeah.
We got to put Sanity on the tag team list, potentially.
Yeah.
Is Dominic Dijakovic Wednesday Night War? Yeah.
I think you can cross over into that. I think that's when you start getting him and Keith Lee probably would be in those ones. Anybody else from the tag team side of things? I'd say this is where you probably put. Oh, obviously it's O'Reilly, Fish, and Strong are kind of the big ones in that.
Right. I'm trying to think of who else.
I mean, you had Mustache Mountain, but you're probably going to put them into the NXT UK one instead.
Brooklyn 3 was August 2017, so we're going to go with...
That was Sanity. So Sanity won it then, and then they lost it to Undisputed Era.
They're definitely worthy of being on this one, though.
Oh, Viking Raiders.
Oh, yeah.
They were War Raiders, right?
Oh yeah, they were Raw Raiders at this point. Yeah. So
now, did they ever drop the belts, or were they kind of like we're gonna forfeit?
They vacated them.
Yeah, they vacated it, and then the Street Profits won it in that four-way ladder match. Yeah. Forgotten Sons.
I forgot about them.
Mustache Mountain.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying are we putting those in NXT UK instead?
Possibly, yeah, depending on.
They could be going on NXT UK as a single, though.
Could do. I mean, they've never actually won the NXT UK Tag Championships, have they yet?
Not yet, but they probably should be doing that soon.
Yeah. Put Imperium maybe in this one, or would you wait till a later one?
I think I'd wait. They're even right now champions, so.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so I think we've got the list of potential women. We know Shayna Baszler's a lock, and then our group of other women that we can pick from: Kairi Sane, Io Shirai, Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, Ember Moon, Nikki Cross, Iconics, and Bianca Belair. It's a big list. I think Ripley, because during this time frame, she also won the NXT UK Women's title.
Yeah, she does, and she only is at the really tail end of the Wednesday Night Wars. Well, right at the beginning of the Wednesday Night Wars before she gets called up. So
yeah,
you would have to put her on at this point.
And then I think
you can hold Candice until the next one.
I think so.
Same with Io.
I think Io definitely should be saved. So I think Kairi for Undisputed.
Oh, definitely Kairi, yeah.
And then you got Dakota Kai, Ember Moon, Nikki Cross, Iconics, and Bianca. I think I'd go Nikki.
I go Nikki. I think you can save Dakota for the next one. And Bianca, I don't think ever really reached her fullest potential in NXT.
Yeah, same here.
It's sad that Nikki did, because Nikki had so much to offer. But yeah, I think you have to go Nikki here.
So Undisputed tag teams. We got Undisputed Era. We've got Street Profits. We've got Heavy Machinery, Sanity, War Raiders, DIY.
So I go Sanity and War Raiders, along with Profits and obviously the Undisputed Era.
I would go...
I think Sanity and War Raiders make sense.
I would personally go War Raiders and the Iconics.
I could see Iconics being that fourth team.
I just don't think Sanity really fulfilled their potential. I mean, I think they're the strongest competition. So whether you want to get realistically, Iconics didn't actually do anything.
Yeah, that's most going to be my argument.
So how long were Street Profits champions? Didn't they get called up pretty soon after they did?
Well, it doesn't matter. They were just they were a big deal as a tag team while they were there.
Yeah, I think that they captured a lot of imagination while they were down there, and I can't remember when exactly they did lose it. I can't remember who they lost it to even.
Didn't they lose to Era?
What again?
So then we got Undisputed Era, we got War Raiders, Sanity, Iconics, and Street Profits. We got to narrow that down to.
Hold on, they did lose it to Era, right? Because
I think they did. I think they lost. It was a weird one where I think they won it in that tag team match, and then the ladder match, and then they lose. Yeah, because War Raiders beat Undisputed Era, and then Street Profits won it back, and then Undisputed Era won it back, and I think that's when they were doing the 4 champions thing.
Right. Okay. Cool.
So yeah, I'd go Undisputed Era, War Raiders, Sanity, and Street Profits.
I'm cool with that. So that's our tag team. So then we need the men's list and the master list. So we got out of the men's list, we've got
Gargano.
We got Gargano definitely. Ciampa definitely. Adam Cole.
Yep.
Unless you throw the Undisputed Era in there, but I think Adam Cole on his own even more so.
Yeah, I think Adam Cole stands out on his own. Yeah. So.
And then you got between Andrade, Aleister Black, Drew McIntyre, Velveteen Dream, Ricochet, EC3, Lars Sullivan, that kind of deal. I'd go Aleister Black, I think.
Definitely Aleister Black, I think. Out of those names listed, he's the one that immediately leaps out.
Yeah, I mean, Ricochet wasn't a world champion, and I think the other that you mentioned are all either gone or canceled or somewhere in the mix. So
yeah, McIntyre's time in NXT was short. So
yeah, and Andrade, even though that's where he got a big boost.
Andrade's the closest, I think, to challenging Black. But
I think Black kind of beats him out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's...
when Andrade won the belt, he had it. It was kind of a surprise, and he didn't have it for very long, so he never really reached any heights. I think Black's best time was NXT.
Aleister Black. So, Master List. We got Undisputed Era in there. Johnny Gargano's got to be on there.
Yes.
And
yeah.
I think Baszler.
Baszler, definitely.
Yes.
And then
I think it's Ciampa.
I think it's kind of Ciampa too. Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree, because there's not like an authority figure or commentator or something that, unless you'd go Mauro Ranallo.
No, it's.
I feel like we've got them on the commentary side of things now. I don't think we need to.
Yeah, I'm cool with Gargano, Ciampa, Undisputed Era, and Shayna. It's so much easier having the Undisputed Era instead of just trying to be like that. But if we had to, we'd go Adam Cole, of course. But it's more.
Go back to it's always making me the way that we've now got the list of like commentators and authority figures. So it making me want to go back to the ones we did beforehand and get rid of Striker and Rhodes because they're now on their own little separate sections now.
I mean, we could.
Yeah,
replace
Rhodes with that's from the Golden Era, so replace him with Rollins.
Seth Rollins.
I would.
Yeah, and then we could replace Striker with
Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan.
Yeah. Hey, look at that.
All right, this is how you. In the course of an hour, we have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 Mount Rushmores. We've done more Mount Rushmores in an hour than we did over the course of 14 hours of the other ones. So
we're leveling up now.
Speed round. So we got Wednesday Night War. We got 2.0. We got NXT UK. We got tag teams, men, women. Oh, we totally got to do 2.0 to figure out if that changes over time. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. We can go with the current NXT 2.0, what we think will be. It's almost like a prediction one more than anything.
Right, yeah. I mean, we already know some of the names. So Wednesday Night War, we've got Finn Balor as one of those locks that we've got written down. Keith Lee, Dominic Dijakovic, Karrion Kross.
Yeah, Dexter Lumis. He's a big deal, regardless of what you think of it. He does get featured a lot. Who else would you kind of put in that bracket? I'm trying to think of it. It's now reaching like the forgettable period of NXT, realistically.
You ain't kidding, buddy. Damian Priest.
Yep.
So Wednesday Night Wars, we're starting September 2019. So we're going 2019, and we're going a little bit into 2020 and 2021.
Cameron Grimes.
To the moon.
I think Cameron Grimes is worth writing down in here. Who's the other one that was just mentioned?
Damian Priest.
Matt Riddle.
Matt Riddle could be a good option for this. Timothy Thatcher.
Yep. Peter Dune.
I like Peter Dune.
Eddie Dunny.
Kushida.
I thought about Kushida.
It's unlikely, but you know.
I'll write his name down for now.
I'm looking through the list of matches that took place in like 2020 and 2019. Legado del Fantasma.
So Legado del Fantasma, I think we're gonna write that down for the tag team list at the very least.
I was thinking just Escobar, but probably Legado.
Because we got the Brit-Am
as a group, yeah.
The Brit-Am Bruisers for the tag teams as well.
Yep.
We've got Imperium. We got Grizzled Young Veterans.
MSK. It's more. Would you put MSK in this one?
It's either that or 2.0.
Yeah.
But I think
you need tag teams for 2.0 at some point. So
we got Imperium.
Let's have a look.
Let's see. Killian Dane. No. Omos. Omos was on NXT?
No.
I don't even remember that. I mean, that's...
would you put... This is interesting. Would you put the Y for tag teams?
Oh, yeah. Maybe not a lock, but I'd put them down as an option.
Bronson Reed.
Bronson Reed, I think, is somebody to definitely think about.
The
the Fashion Police. Breezango.
Yeah, Breezango, yeah. They were tag champions at this point. So.
We got the Robert Stone brand under the tag teams.
Do we know?
Not really, but you know.
What do you think of this? This is a weird one for the event, but Pat McAfee.
Yeah, I thought about it. I think I would put him there.
Possibly. I'm gonna write him down.
He's worth the discussion anyway. Like, it's just a fun talking point.
You know what's a weird person to write down? Leon Ruff. He made a big deal out of a short time frame.
Well, Hit Row. You
Hit
can't
Row.
really class it as 2.0 because they pretty much were out the door when
right.
started. So.
No, there wasn't it were.
They were pretty much out the door when they formed.
Yeah,
Austin
if you look
Theory?
at the women's side, yeah. Well, he'd be in the Y, wouldn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, like separate. Probably not.
Why would you put him separate? It's like he didn't do anything on his own, did he?
No.
I mean, if we're looking at the
WrestleMania, I mean, but that was
yeah. He's done more. He's done realistically more on the main roster, even though he's only been there for a short period of time. But if we're looking at the women's side of things,
we got Dakota Kai, Shotzi, Candice, Io Shirai,
Raquel.
Yeah, Raquel. Yeah,
Raquel Gonzalez. Tegan Knox, probably not, but because she unfortunately was like barely ever around.
And then they screwed her, man. I had to.
Yeah.
Xia
Mercedes Martinez. Or Xia Li and Mercedes Martinez, maybe.
Mercedes Martinez.
Let's have a look. Velveteen Dream was still wrestling on November the 4th, 2020.
Mia Yim, possibly.
Yeah, remember they were using him as like in case of fire, break glass. And they're just shelve him again for a few months.
Who was that?
Velveteen Dream.
I've
just seen how like he was main eventing NXT on November the 4th last year.
That was Adam Cole, right? Just so that Cole could beat somebody.
It just feels like it's a million years ago.
Yeah, it really does.
Tony Storm.
Maybe.
I think I'd end up passing on her, but I'll put her name down at least for the discussion. Duke and Shafir, no. Riker, no. All right, I think we got a good enough group that we can pick from.
Yeah.
So, Candice LeRae and Io Shirai definitely for the women.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. And then I think Dakota Kai.
And Raquel.
And either Raquel or Xia Li.
Raquel.
Well, would you make the argument Raquel with 2.0 or no?
No.
Probably not. So then Raquel then for Wednesday Night War. Yeah. Because she made a bigger deal with it. Yeah. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
All right. So the women's list is done with that. Tag teams.
Legado Del Fantasma.
I'd go Legado. I'd go The Way.
I'd go The Way, yeah.
I'd go Britt and Bruisers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they would be
Breezango?
of that. So.
And probably either Breezango or MSK.
I think you can probably. I think 2.0 needs to have MSK just to fill up their tag team ranks, really.
Probably.
That's a fair point.
I'll put them in as the potential fifth, depending on how we go through there.
And they were the inaugural. They were the inaugural tag champions of 2.0, so I guess you could count it as that.
And they're still there, apparently.
Yeah, they just had their shaman Matt Riddle.
You know, but I assume that would be like, okay, so are you gonna follow him now over to Monday? Like,
well, actually, in terms of the tag scene, the one that we haven't mentioned that I think you could bring up for that is Riddle and Pete Dunne.
The Bruiserweights.
They didn't do as much as I wish they would have.
Yeah.
Because remember, shortly after they formed, Pete got stuck in the UK because of COVID.
And then it was Riddle and Thatcher.
Yeah. And then they feuded, and then Riddle went up.
And then he moved again.
Yeah.
Which, if you're going to split Riddle, Thatcher, and Riddle Dunne, then I think that takes Breezango in that fourth spot instead.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with Breezango getting a spot. Just, we've already got Tyler Breeze. Breeze is now appearing twice. But
well, we've got...
So
we got Tyler Breeze in there? Oh, wait, yeah, we do.
Yeah, because he was on the initial one.
Oh, that's right.
That's fine. The tag team thing is different.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
We can make our own rules.
Yeah. And we can damn sure break them.
We can break our own rules too. All right, so then we need the men's and we need the overall. We got to do the men's first. So we got Finn Balor. He's pretty much a lock.
Finn Balor, Keith Lee, Damian Priest, and number 4.
Do you put Karrion Kross on there?
I think Kross is...
I do not want to. I do not want to, but I think you might have to.
So I'm kind of thinking Balor, Lee, Kross, and Riddle.
I'm not sure about Riddle.
I can't put Riddle on this because he didn't
never won a title.
Much as a single.
If not Riddle, I mean, Lee definitely. We're all in agreement about Lee.
Oh, Lee's definitely, yeah.
Kross, I think, is pretty much a guarantee.
It was a pretty long term.
Unless, can we put Kyle on as a single?
Nah.
I don't think
he never won it in anything, too.
Look, I just think that Karrion Kross was an abject failure at this point. We need to realize that. I
think his main roster thing was a failure. I think his NXT run would have been fairly successful.
But they didn't give him enough of a chance. He's just there. He wins the belt and he's gone. It's like we didn't put Owens on the list.
Yeah, but I think it's difficult in his circumstances because he won the title and was immediately injured in the match.
Correct.
And then he comes back and he wins it for a second time. And there are very few 2-time NXT champions.
You're right, and that's why I think we should put Samoa Joe on this list as the only 3-time NXT champion.
Samoa Joe is on this list.
On the other one, the TakeOver one.
Yeah, we put him on the second.
So we got Balor, Lee, most likely Kross.
I guess it's just.
Oh no, we didn't put him on the TakeOver list, did we?
Oh my God! There you go.
I put him in the men's one.
We put him in the men's, but not
in the overall one.
Not the overall, because that's going to either go to Bayley or Regal.
Yeah, sure.
There's a case to be made that it's Balor, Lee, Kross, and McAfee.
Would you put? I put Priest in over Pat McAfee.
I put Priest in over McAfee.
There's also Bronson Reed.
I put Priest in over Bronson Reed.
Yeah, same.
I'm cool with Priest being in there. Cameron Grimes is the other one that I was thinking.
Oh, Cameron Grimes over Damian Priest though. I know Grimes hasn't won anything, but Grimes is Grimes.
Grimes over Kross, am I right?
It's a toss up for me between Grimes and Priest.
Grimes is also healthy. He's also big in this 2.0 thing too.
Not for long, I don't think.
Yeah, but I feel like he's too much of a crossover from the old thing into the new, and he's not going to be. I don't think he's going to be a mainstay of 2.0.
So it's either Priest or Grimes, it seems.
I like Grimes more. I think Grimes was more entertaining. He brought more to NXT than Priest did, even though Priest won the title.
I'm cool with Grimes being over Priest. When was the $1 million championship thing? That was pre 2.0, right?
Yeah, it was slightly before 2.0.
Yeah, so he won the $1 million title.
Oh, yeah.
Championship. There you go. All right, so then our overall list. We got Finn Balor.
Yeah, I'd say Balor's in the overall, yeah.
Do we put The Way in there as a means to get Candice in there? Or do we... Well, I'm thinking EO.
EO, yeah, I'd say, is definitely the lock woman of that.
Yeah. Raquel is an option. Legato's an option. I don't think any of the other tag teams other than Legato in The Way.
Yeah. I'd say you put The Way in because that gives you Candice and gives you Johnny again, technically. And if you count like extended Way universe, you could probably put Loomis in that aspect as well. So yeah, I'd say The Way's the main tag team that would fit into that. And then the other choice would probably be
Keith Lee.
Keith Lee.
Yeah, I think probably Keith Lee.
Yeah, I think so.
Because he did win the North American and the NXT Championship, and his matches with Dijakovic were great. And yeah, I can see that being the case. While,
so yeah, I feel like he would merit it.
So we got 2.0, we got NXT UK, and then we eventually will do our master tag team and women and overall master list. So 2.0. This is obviously we're not sure how some of these people are going to play out.
There's almost as much prediction, yeah.
But we do know that Braun Breaker is on for sure. He's on the master list for that and the men's.
Well, yeah. Well, most of the men's one would be like I'd say most, but it would be Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes would definitely be.
I think Carmelo Hayes is a lock for the men's.
The other two, Grayson Waller is interesting because they clearly do see a lot of him. Because why would they have him take out Johnny Gargano on his last night? But I don't like him. And I don't think he's as over as they trying to make him be.
He's a possibility.
I don't want to put Tony on it either because he's just the meme.
Tony D'Angelo, yeah.
I'll talk about you.
I'm quite a meme.
Yeah.
Let's see. Asher Hale, no. BFAB, no. I'm trying to write. So there's Jensen and Briggs is a tag team. Creed Brothers is the tag team. Or Diamond Mine.
Really is I'd just put it as Diamond Mine instead.
On the women's side, we've got Cora Jade. We got Mandy Rose or Toxic Attraction.
Yeah, Toxic Attraction. Yeah.
What other groups do we've got, or different people?
Electra Lopez.
Joe Gacy.
So Lopez was there. We got Zion Quinn. We got Joe Gacy. Can't really do anything with Frankie Monet because she didn't do a damn thing. Solo Sikoa.
Jacket Time.
Yeah, but Jacket Time seems to be sticking around. They actually give him a tag team name, so that's...
I hope Kushida Stake's not sticking around.
Roof Fang isn't going to amount to pretty much anything. We got Saray on the women. We've got... Boa. We do have Boa. He's doing more and more.
I thought that we never even considered just putting the Mae Young stuff in there. Oh, he said Zoe at one point. But
Ulyssa Leon is on there. Valentina Feroce. I forget how they're pronouncing it. Feroce, I think. Odyssey Jones.
You're the one that's married to a Brazilian. How do you pronounce it?
Yeah, Odyssey Jones.
I had heard Feroce, but I don't know. Indy and Persia.
Von Wagner
on the men's list potentially. Zoe Stark has to be on the women. More than likely she'll be on like the actual list too. Vanessa Bourne, she wasn't on there. That's weird. Let's see, Legato's still on there for that, but Duke Hudson on the list for the men, possibly.
Lash Legend.
Yeah, not a fan. Amari Miller, Andre Chase. I think we're kind of
I think we've got the most like the big names.
Most of these sort of settled. So all right, tag teams. We got MSK, we got Diamond Mine.
Yep.
We got the I guess Jacket Time and Jensen and Briggs.
Oh my god, is it that threadbare?
Yeah.
Have we actually put Imperium on? Did we put Imperium on the last one?
Yeah, Imperium. No, Imperium.
Imperium's on the... Oh, no, we didn't. So, yeah. So, Imperium over Jensen and Briggs.
Jacket Time. At least Jensen and Briggs are being pushed.
You think Jensen and Briggs over Jacket Time?
Yeah, Jacket Time are a joke.
Well, don't disrespect the Ica mention like that.
Wasn't that... The last thing we saw of Jacket Time was the Kilimanjaro taking a shit.
That's true. Yeah, fuck that. Jensen and Briggs. So MSK, Diamond Mine, Jensen and Briggs, and Imperium, which is so weird that Imperium would be under there.
I know, they're all the champions. So.
Unless we end up putting Imperium on the NXT UK thing, and then we put Jacket Time and Jensen and Briggs. Just possibility.
Why do you want Jacket Time so badly on there?
I don't necessarily, but I'm just saying, we didn't do the NXT UK list, so
nah.
Under the women's list, we got Toxic Attraction. Oh wait, Toxic Attraction for the tag teams. Possibility. We'll come back to it. But Toxic Attraction, Cora Jade, it seems for sure.
Zoe
Stark. And then do Persia?
They do seem to have some stock in Persia prior to...
It's got to be either her or Elektra Lopez, right?
It's either her, Elektra Lopez, or Lash Legend, just because Lash Legend is getting the airtime with the thing that she's doing, even though we don't even know if she can wrestle.
Persia or Elektra.
Or what about the TikTok girls or whatever they're called? I can't remember. The
TC and
the life of the party.
Yeah, nah, I don't think so. not over Persia or Electra, it seems.
Is that just so, like, they've absolutely wasted Casey Catanzaro.
Yeah. They should have just brought her up. Just had her...
Or pushed her in NXT. Yeah. Actually made her, like, a, challenge for the title as a singles or something. But... yeah, you guys can decide what the fourth one is. I don't really have any stock in it.
Yeah, it's Persia or Electra. We'll make a decision at the last minute or something.
It's Electra. Stop it. It's Electra.
It's Electra Boogie Woogie Woogie. Anybody gets the reference,
Yes.
drop a comment below. So the men, we have Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes.
Joe Gacy, it seems.
Joe Gacy seems like it, yeah. Rob was so upset he just disappeared.
Yeah.
Joe Gacy is going to end up getting rid of 205 Live, and I think that says something for all of us.
Well, it seems like Malcolm Bivens is getting rid of 205.
So then, out of the fourth for the men, you got Grayson Waller, Tony D'Angelo, Zion Quinn, Solo Sikoa, Boa, Odyssey Jones, Andre Chase, Von Wagner, and Duke Hudson.
Right now, the obvious seems like Wagner, but if I was going to guess, I'd say Sikoa.
I think that there's a lot of stock in Zion Quinn.
Yeah, I'd say Zion is the one they'll end up pushing heavily out of those ones just because of the look and stuff like that. But right now, just because he's big, Von Wagner seems like... If all those people... Obviously, Bron Breakker will be the next champion but the next one down the line I'd see as champion would be Von Wagner.
Yeah, I think Quinn might end up being one of those people that just gets called up to the main roster beforehand.
Well, at the moment he's doing some sort of like obviously he's feuding with the guy there for Tasman, but he's doing more of like a romance angle thing with. So I think
Lopez.
He's a bit more on. So he's a bit more on hold, I think.
So we got Breaker, Hayes, Gacy, and Wagner.
I got Wagner. Yeah.
For right now, that has to be.
And then we gotta figure out for 2.0's Master List. I'm thinking Toxic Attraction, Braun Breaker, maybe Diamond Mine.
Putting Waller on this list, even though it's like they put him in War Games. He took out Gargano.
I just don't want to.
I mean, fair.
I don't want to, and I don't feel like there's enough of like an absolutely overwhelming argument that we have to. So in which case, let's not do it.
I think Wagner makes sense over Waller, at least for right now.
They had him take out Kyle O'Reilly, so had him beat Kyle O'Reilly on Kyle O'Reilly's last night. So
and they put Wagner on SmackDown temporarily.
Yeah,
Wagner's also wrestled on Raw. So Breaker, he had a couple of matches during the pandemic.
He got the shit kicked out of him by Sheamus. I remember that.
All right.
So we got Breaker, Toxic Attraction, and then 2 other spots for the Master List. Diamond Mine, I think, yeah, because that covers a lot. And then
Cora Jade.
Yeah, it might be Cora Jade. Yeah.
It's either Cora Jade or Carmella Hayes for me.
Oh, well, we didn't put Hayes on? Hayes.
Well, not the Master one yet. It's one of those two.
It's Hayes over
me, it's
Cora.
Hayes, Breaker, Cora, and probably Diamond Mine.
Well, Toxic Attraction.
Toxic Attraction on it.
Over Cora.
Fuck them, dude. It's Mandy Rose should not be NXT.
Well, it's not the point of whether they should or shouldn't be in there. It's the fact they dominate all TV that they're on. So.
And they're all champions.
Yeah. So it's like it's pretty much impossible.
Fine.
So I'm going to go Electra over Persia for now. But Persia, they seem to be pushing her for the women part. And then we're still not sure about the tag teams. We'll come back to that because NXT UK is next. Now NXT UK is spanning multiple years, but we know Walter is on there.
Oh, Walter's definitely on it.
Walter for the men. It's Walter, Ilya, Pete Dunne, and Tyler, isn't it?
Well, I'd put Mustache Mountain together as a tag team instead.
I think Mustache Mountain goes as tag team. Imperium goes as tag team, and that's where I'd take them out of 2.0.
I don't think Imperium are. I don't think they should be in the UK tag team because I don't think they ever won the UK tag championship. They've only ever won the NXT champ. I think they've only won the NXT championship.
Well, Gallus needs to be on the tag team.
Oh, Gallus definitely is on the tag team. It's Gallus, Mustache Mountain.
Pretty Deadly?
I think it has to be Pretty Deadly. Well, I'd put
Grizzled Young Veterans.
Oh yeah, we haven't. Oh, have we found a space for Grizzled Young Vets yet?
No.
Okay, Grizzled Young Vets, and you could do Southwell Subculture.
Pretty Deadly.
Or Pretty Deadly. It's one of those.
It's either Pretty Deadly or Subculture. Subculture won the titles, right?
Yeah, Pretty Deadly.
They won the. Oh no, they did win the titles. Did they win in the ladder match or lose in the ladder match?
They lost the ladder match, but I think they'd already lost the titles by that point. Because they won the titles from whatever they faced, the Grizzled Young Vets. They beat them for it, and they lost it to Gallus a couple of weeks later, I think. But yeah, I'd go Pretty Deadly over them just because I think they only held it for like.
Yeah, I think I'd go Pretty Deadly over Subculture. Now, one of the things that you should be making sure, if you want to make sure that you are pretty, is you should be using our sponsors for this episode, Manscaped. Get your 20% off and free shipping information here, manscaped.com/smark, SMARK. Head over to that URL. And for whatever orders that you pick up, whether it's something that's like a package deal, like a performance package, or if you want to get individual items, even if you want to get something like the replacement blades, it's still going to be 20% off and free shipping, which is a deal that you should take advantage of right now in particular, because these make great Christmas gifts. And it's a little bit awkward to give somebody, ball toner for Christmas, but it's a good way to even have like a gag gift if you wanted to do that. But it's also just, you get them the grooming kit, or you get them the lawnmower or the refined cologne. You know that you're going to give them something that's great, because all the products that we've been trying with them have been great. All positive reviews all around for all the different products for everybody that I know that's tried any of them too. I think that if you got somebody in your life that could benefit from these kind of things, you got to get them something like that. And you got to take advantage of the manscaped.com/smark deal and get those little savings on your bill. If you had to recommend one thing out of the Manscaped catalog for somebody to pick up for a Christmas gift, what do you think it would be?
So I would keep it simple. I think the grooming kit with the nail clippers is fantastic. I use it at least once a week. I think it's honestly one of the best nail clippers.
Rob is definitely so taken about that he ended up glitching out again.
Did I really?
Yes, you did. It is definitely so what?
The nail clippers, they're great, and I think that they're fantastic.
What about you, Cal?
You can never go wrong with some refined cologne at Christmas time. Just something that every man can't get enough of. Essentially, it's just like can't have too many bottles of cologne sitting around for like a night out, or just for any occasion. It's a safe gift. It's a good gift, and especially with the Manscaped one, it's like nice. It's nice smelling, and it's got. How they describe it, the light yet masculine, pleasing fragrance. It's a very nice bottle, and I'm pretty sure anyone would appreciate it.
I would say if you're gonna get some stocking stuffer type stuff, get them the toner and the deodorants and those kind of things, maybe the cologne. But if you want to give them an actual gift, get them the lawnmower, because that is definitely the best shaver that I've used in for anything when it comes down to that. So. Again, manscaped.com/smark. Take advantage of our vanity URL, get 20% off and free shipping. So thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring us. And thank you to anybody who picks up an order and lets them know that Smark Out Moments the way that you got there. But that's, Pretty Deadly uses that. They're on the list that we've got going on here. We're working and chipping away.
Because it's got the skin safe technology.
Yeah, that's true. So we got the tag teams on the NXT UK side, and now the women on NXT UK. Toni Storm, she's on there.
Well, how do you say the women without immediately going to Kaylee Ray?
Kaylee Ray.
Kaylee Ray is the obvious one.
For sure.
Yeah.
Then you would have Piper Niven.
I mean, honestly, there's only been 4 women's champions. Is it just them?
Well, it's Rhea Ripley, but we've already put Rhea Ripley somewhere, so I'm not.
Yeah.
we shouldn't put Rhea Ripley on this as well. Piper Niven should.
I think Piper Niven may be over Rhea Ripley in that kind of spot.
But I gotta go with
Miko Satomura.
Mako has to be in it. Yeah, Mako has to be in it.
Miko.
So Miko. The only thing else I could say, maybe instead of Piper, maybe Ginny.
Ginny. No, I'd say Piper.
Other than that, because Isla Dawn, no.
What do you have against Isla Dawn?
She never wins anything. It's got to be either Ginny or Niven. So
I think Niven had better matches. That would just be my argument.
That's a vote for Niven. What about you, Rob? Niven or Ginny? I'm kind of on the fence.
Niven, absolutely. They should give her the belt.
That's true. Yeah. So we'll go with Niven on that. The men's side, we got Walter for sure.
For me, it's Walter, Ilya. I guess if you want to take out Tyler because you're doing Mustache Mountain, maybe Pete Dunne and Joe Coffey.
We have Gallus already.
Yeah, but that could be the tag team.
I do think Walter, Dragunov, Dunne.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, those three.
And I don't know.
Then the other
maybe
choice
Tyler
is,
Bate.
I still think that you don't need to put him there with Mustache Mountain, and the same way you don't need to put Joe Coffey because you've got Gallus. I feel like if you've got a space available for someone else, and you put someone else in there, and then that leaves the opening for the Rampage Brown.
What about A-Kid? Because he was the first Heritage Cup champion.
There's no Amdar.
There's no Amdar. There is
just skipping right past
it. A-Kid is an option.
A-Kid's an option, but I wouldn't go for him.
There's there's Cassius Ohno for a little while.
There's Mastiff, but he hasn't won anything.
The Mastiff.
Well, when he changes his name, we'll consider.
If he's Mastiff, Dave Mastiff, then he would.
Who else? I mean, you wouldn't put a
Sid Scala
or something.
You know what though?
Jordan Devlin.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Devlin. Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Devlin.
Yeah, I'd say Devlin.
Yeah, I kind of think Devlin maybe, because he's been a big deal since the very beginning.
Yeah, former cruiserweight champion. He's
so then. All right, so the master list for NXT UK, we got Walter. I think Tyler Bate on his own.
Pete Dunne has to be on the NXT UK Master one.
Pete Dunne, and either
I don't know why you don't just put Mustache Mountain on the Master one.
I mean, we might as well just put Mustache Mountain. Yeah, that makes more sense.
And then it'd be Kaylee Ray.
Probably Kaylee Ray. Yeah, because she's had the longest reign for the women, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I know some people I'm pretty sure nobody cares enough about NXT UK to care about it, but Gallus would have been a close runner-up for that thing, but yeah.
So then that means Imperium's sticking on 2.0 for the tag teams.
Mm.
So it's either Jensen and Briggs, Jacket Time, or Toxic Attraction. I think it's either Jensen and Briggs or Toxic Attraction.
Well,
Toxic Attraction will go in the women's.
In that case, I'd say Toxic Attraction for the teams, and you take them out of the women, and you put Core Jade, you know what I mean?
Well, Core Jade's on the women list.
Yeah, we got her on the women list. We just don't have her on the.
We don't have her on the master. Okay.
Right. Yeah, the master list is Toxic, Diamond Mine, Carmelo Hayes, and Breaker.
All right, and what's the option if we don't put Toxic Attraction on tag team?
It's either that or Jensen and Briggs.
Yeah, because I'm not putting Jacket 10. Then I guess I could say Jensen and Briggs.
Well, yeah, we put them in the thing and we put Toxic Attraction as a whole on the women's side, or we put Toxic Attraction on the tag as Gigi and JC and put Mandy Rose on the women's one.
I think Jensen and Briggs tag make more sense.
Might as well just put Toxic Attraction as one on the women's side.
So then we're taking MSK off of that other list that's there. We got the Broserweights, okay, off that thing. Okay, cool.
I gotta say, how the mighty have fallen when you start to break down this 2.0 stuff.
So we've got, now we need our master list of tag teams, men, women, and overall out of this master list kind of deal.
And
Okay.
So
this is.
Master
Oh, wait,
List and
actually,
tag
we didn't fully settle on whether or not the commentary was Ronaldo, Graves, Phillips, McGuinness.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah, because he does UK and he did a lot of the American stuff.
And then Vic Joseph's like that honorary number 5. Like if he's going to take over Tom Phillips' space, maybe at some point. All right, so tag teams. All right, well, we got this big group of these 24 different tag teams.
Mm-hmm.
When I think tag teams in there, I think Revival. I think we're all going to agree on that.
Yes.
Now, we don't have them on the tag team list, but there is DIY. I think Undisputed Era definitely under tag teams.
Yeah, and DIY.
Yeah.
DIY, I think, should be.
I because we're gonna put Gargano at the very least on the men's one. So
I mean,
I'd
honestly,
say no.
we're probably gonna put Ciampa as well. I can't see.
Well, there is an argument to be made for both of them, but I'd say no then, or for them as a tag team.
All right, so Undisputed Era.
Undisputed Era and Revival, they're locks.
Yeah.
And then I think it's kind of down to 2 spots out of DIY, American Alpha, Ascension, Mustache Mountain. Maybe.
So for me, it's Ascension for sure. And maybe Mustache Mountain? I like
maybe,
American Alpha, but I can't put them... Like, they weren't around in NXT long enough.
I can see that potentially being it. Because Mustache Mountain did win the NXT tag titles. They are
and
big.
They are so synonymous with UK.
Right.
And they've been around for a long time. Like American Alpha was obviously great for the time they were, but they were pretty short term in NXT in the grand scheme of things.
They were short term, just in general.
In general, yeah. But yeah, I'd say you could go Mustache Mountain and the Ascension.
Yeah. All right. Cool. And then we got the men and the women. Let's go with the women. I'm thinking our options are Paige, Asuka, Bayley, Charlotte, Sasha, Shayna, Rhea, Candice, Io, Raquel.
So I think Shayna has to be a lock.
Yep, Shayna's definitely. I think Asuka's definitely.
I think Asuka should be a lock. And here's where I'm struggling, because I don't want to just say Sasha and Bayley and that's it. But I really feel like in this case, they should be.
So I think we take Charlotte off the possibilities. I think ultimately, unfortunately, we take Candice off because she didn't win the title.
Yeah, I personally think the other two alongside Baszler and Asuka should be Bayley and Paige.
That's what I was leaning a little bit more towards, Bayley and Paige. Although there's an option for Tony, there's an option for Io.
Like, realistically, I do think it should be Paige as well. It's putting Bayley on as a solo is what I struggle with because she's so linked to Sasha.
But I think Bayley's more synonymous with NXT than Sasha was with NXT. Even though Sasha was great, and they obviously have those 2 great matches, Sasha's gone on to be a bigger deal on the main roster, and Bayley has done now, but it took a while to get to. Like, this is a different Bayley to the Bayley that we see now. This is NXT Bayley rather than main roster Bayley, who's a heel.
And you got what saves her.
You got Izzy, for instance. You know,
I think like the argument, the one that I see as the standout outside of Paige and Bayley's put on this is Rhea, because Rhea's the only one to have held both the NXT UK and NXT Women's Championships.
I'd put Rhea on here.
I think Rhea, and then I think maybe Io would stand a chance, but I think that ultimately Io would be taken out by the other ones.
Yeah. So, but I personally would still go Paige because she's the first champion, and she then went and won the women's title while holding that title, win the Divas title while holding that championship, and then
here's Bayley, my argument for Rhea over Bayley. I think when we look back on it, we'll remember all the 4 horsewomen as main roster entities. And when we look back on it, Rhea's prime and her best run is going to be that NXT stuff. So I think
we don't know that yet.
Sure, because
I mean, there was a long time where I thought that Bayley's best run would have been the NXT thing, especially like a couple of years ago.
That's fair.
And now she went on to have a great heel run, and now she feels like more a part of the Four Horsewomen than she did like at that point. I just think Bayley in NXT is like
more foundational.
Yeah, and like the ultimate babyface story. I mean, Rhea was super like over for a period of time there, but it died off pretty quickly, and then they ruined her by having her being buried by Charlotte, pretty much.
Are we still thinking that play out?
Buried's a bad word, but like she just they had her lose to Charlotte and she never recovered from that and floated in the ether for about a year.
So I think Asuka, Paige, Shayna, and Bayley. Yeah.
Yeah, that's mine.
And then on our men's list, we're going to put Johnny Gargano.
Gargano. I think Ciampa is as synonymous as Johnny is.
I think there's a chance Ciampa might not, but I think Gargano and Cole are guarantees, right?
Yeah. I mean, we've already put the Undisputed Era on there, but do you think we should put Cole as a singles as well?
Kinda.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense.
But who's your idea for a fourth that could potentially replace Ciampa?
What do you mean fourth? We've only got two so far.
Well, Ciampa's almost... but then I think that there's Sami
Balor has to be
Zayn.
on it.
I think Finn Balor.
I mean, realistically, my four is probably Gargano, Cole, Balor, and Zayn. Which feels weird because Ciampa should be on it.
Yeah, I take out Balor and I put in Ciampa.
Balor's a bigger deal than Ciampa was. Two-time NXT champion, basically spans two different eras of NXT.
I can spout the same words right back out for Ciampa.
Ciampa is a two-time NXT champion, and yeah,
he did hold it
for a while.
I think I could see it being Gargano, Cole, Ciampa, and Balor over Zayn.
We could kick Zayn out, which feels wrong, but...
It feels wrong, but it's also like Zayn represents a time in NXT that Balor also represents.
Right.
So
even though Gargano, Cole, and Ciampa are all the same time frame, that was a bigger time frame.
Synonymous with the brand itself.
It does feel a bit painful though, because that Zayn is the Zayn. Because this Zayn that we have now he's funny, and he's a cowardly heel, but he's not that Zayn.
I was thinking about that too. Sami Zayn really isn't Sami Zayn anymore.
Unless we were to say that we need to put somebody from like NXT UK in there, like Pete Dunne.
Well, I'd say Walter would be the choice if you would do that, but I don't think it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with those four, and it hurts to have Zayn be like the one just looking in from the outside, but realistically, those four are just more in the fabric of NXT.
Because Samoa Joe is an option too, but we went Zayn over Joe, and then yeah. So then we have to figure out the master list. This is the most difficult out of all of them. We have William Regal down as a possibility.
I think Regal needs to be on the master. Look, either Regal or Triple H needs to be on the master.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's weird to not put Triple H on the master list.
I think Regal more than Triple H.
Yeah, I think Regal. I like the fact that he's been a on-screen presence more. I know Triple H's been behind the scenes, but you know.
So I'm gonna just spout out some names. Regal. If Regal's a lock, I think Gargano for an overall.
I
think Gargano definitely.
Oh, Gargano's definitely.
I think the Baszler as a woman and then the Undisputed Era as like the unit tag team and that entire run representative.
I think Gargano, Regal, Undisputed Era, and then somebody on the women's side.
Which is Baszler.
I think Asuka more than Baszler.
Where do you land, Calum?
I don't know. They're both the greatest women's champions in NXT history. It's like,
but Asuka was undefeated. Baszler did lose.
Baszler's a 2 times champion.
Mostly because she lost.
More of a complete
I know she lost, but she lost twice. She lost title twice, but
Asuka
only didn't lose the title because she got injured.
That's true, actually.
But Asuka was more dominant at that period of time. But
let's look at the overall division.
The thing about putting Baszler on that list is that if we were to put Baszler in, then we're basically saying the Undisputed Era of NXT is the greatest era of NXT because all members are from that era.
I think that's kind of true, though.
I mean, it's kind of true, but like, I've looked back on the.
It's the era of NXT that got the brand moved over to the television.
Yeah,
that's the product they were buying.
In which case, I don't really like it as much.
That's the era that people were like, I want to go there. I'm an indie guy. That's the best wrestling. It's either Asuka or Shayna, for sure. We're not doing Paige or Bayley.
All right, I'm gonna draw the line then. I'm gonna say we put Baszler.
All right.
And you're voting Baszler, Rob?
Absolutely.
All right, Baszler gets it done. That's 2-1. I was gonna go Asuka, but Baszler, of course, I'm not gonna fight it. So our master list is William Regal, Johnny Gargano, the Undisputed Era as a unit, and Shayna Baszler, which means we got a tag team, we got an authority figure, a man and a woman. Which means that we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 31, 2. 32. 32 Mount Rushmores on this episode.
It makes it feel like all the other ones were a huge waste of time, really. Like we could have wrapped some of these ones up in like 10 minutes when we're doing the greatest Mount Rushmore of all time or whatever.
Well, I think that some of those other ones, it's harder to kind of pinpoint what rosters are what, you know? Like if we did like the Mount Rushmore of like entrance themes, then it's everybody that's ever been in WWE, you know?
Yeah.
But we have more definitive rosters. We have more definitive, like, these are the champions. These are the ones that really matter. Because, you know, there wasn't a whole bunch of discussion for, like, Marcus Louis and Sylvester LaFour and all that. And we did the heavy lifting with the top rope lists in the past, where we established, like, Gargano and the Revival and whatnot.
Yeah, and if we were going to narrow it down to a specific era, there would have been a lot more discussion about names that we knew wouldn't get on there. Like, you know, like a Ricochet or a Velveteen, or, yeah, we would have fleshed out the conversation.
Yeah, it's good that we did do those top row lists beforehand, because without those, I would never have known that Johnny Gargano was a big deal in NXT.
I don't know how you could. I mean, this is why we're here.
Yeah. So, all right, 32 Mount Rushmores on one episode. I didn't think that was going to be the case, because that's
not enough for you. There is still the pick your poison tier.
There is, true.
64. Okay.
Now we couldn't possibly do like the Mount Rushmore of Raw eras or something. I don't think, but you know,
that's what you think.
We never. This is. I don't want to extend it even further and stuff like that. We never considered putting Johnny Saint on the authority figures for NXT.
I threw out Sid Scala's name.
Yeah, important.
But Johnny Saint said things that were funny.
Yeah,
Four-man fatal.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, those are good days.
No, we'll leave it. We can't go back now.
No, I mean
we're locked.
I don't think that we would have anyway. But yeah, we got. Actually, the only thing we didn't settle on was is William Regal. We're not going to put William Regal on that other one. That's Bayley, right? On the takeover one.
Yeah, because we got the authority figures separate, so we might as well put Bayley on that one.
Yeah, so we got, for that takeover one, it's Zayn, Asuka, Bayley, and Revival. That's the master list. All right. Well, if you enjoyed this, let us know. Tell us your thoughts on what you'd like to see for the next episode of Mount Rushmore that we do, which I don't know when we're going to do that, because we did 32 here, so we got at least a good chunk of... We'll
let it breathe.
We got more than double the amount of all the other ones that we've done in the past. But, you know, if you do want more, there is the Pick Your Poison tier, and you could just drop a comment and tell us your thoughts about that, because then we'll take that into consideration. Mount Rushmore is a lot of fun, so it's one that we can revisit a lot. It's not like the fan outs table where we have to make sure we have certain setup and we have certain time frames or whatever. We just kind of shoot the shit and we figure it out. And there's, of course, plenty of other Mount Rushmore discussions that we could have. Just the same as we want to go back and we want to do these mock draft things, do more fantasy booking cards. We just want to have more fun. So we want you to have more fun. We want to know what you have fun with. And the best way to do that is to let us know. I'm going to eventually have my poll up, my survey questionnaire that I do at the end of the year. I haven't worked on it yet because things have just been too crazy. But that'll be up, so you guys will be able to vote on that in the next week or two, I think, depending on when I get a chance. But yeah, lots of Mount Rushmores in the book here, and we're going to be curious to see if the 2.0 list works out the way that works out. You know, maybe 2 months from now, we're like, no, you know what? It's actually not Joe Gacy. It's somebody else, or, you know, I don't know. We'll see. But follow us all over the place here. Make sure you're subscribed and that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter at SmarkOutMoment. Make sure you check out fanboysanonymous.com for everything that's happening over there too. Like, share, follow, favorite, subscribe, and all that good stuff on that brand too. Follow me at Tony Mango and follow what these guys have going on. Rob?
Yeah, I'm at Dude Felice everywhere. You guys should know that by now. But just in case you don't, I am at Dude Felice. It'll be in the description. It's Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. And yeah, I also write for Fightful.com, and Sean Rossap is doing his best work over at Fightful Select. And just follow all that, and you'll find me. Callum?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Weekmeister14, so follow me there. You can also check out all the stuff on SmarkOutMoment.com, including the power rankings, my week-to-week contribution, but make sure you're stopping by everything else there as well. And if you want to dip into the archives a little bit, there is always 2001 A Wrestling Odyssey and the Paul Heyman SmackDown podcast.
Alrighty, everybody, that's going to do us in for this edition. Thank you again for listening, and thank you for all of your support in whatever fashion that it is. And we will see you next time with... Actually, I don't know what our main event is for the next week. Did we have a plan for that? We didn't have a plan, did we?
We'll see you with something at some point doing something related to wrestling.
So God, it's kind of
as vague as that, really.
It's up in the air, but then we start getting into the awards season. So,
well, what I meant was like Ring of Honor Final Battle is this weekend, and maybe Callum and I feel like talking about Final Battle. You never know. It is the end of the era for Ring of Honor.
Could we do like that? We do RIP Ring of Honor, same thing we did with the RIP TNA, which never actually was RIP.
Oh, look, because we got a better shot here than we do with the other one.
Maybe
we could always dive into this worst wrestler draft idea that I've been throwing around, but
yeah, we could round the year out with that.
Yeah, a draft's always fun. People seem to like them. But
yeah,
we can. But this is your opportunity to just hit up in the comments below and just tell us. This is the moment. This is the time that you can basically say, yes, do Superstar scores Naked Midian.
That's right.
I don't want to break the Undertaker's scores here and give 10s for everything. Jeez. We always take into consideration what you guys have to say, especially if there's like multiple of like, we all want you to do whatever it is. I don't know. Quick turnaround or something. Then, we'll see. But we have a couple days, so we'll sort that out when it comes time to it, and then we'll hopefully see you then. But for now, this is it. Thank you for listening again. This has been another Smark Out moment, and we're being counted out.